Hello everyone, my name is Holly, and yes, you read the title correctly. I am moving, and not just in a month or a couple weeks, more like a few days. I'm going to be making another video all about that, probably when I'm packing all the books that I am taking with me. You'll see that really soon. In fact, at this point, you've probably realized I am doing a lot of video catch-up. I am uploading one video after another, and that will keep going for a little while. I could sure use the YouTube revenue. Today, we're just focusing on the books I will be getting rid of, because moving and having hundreds of books is the worst thing ever. The only truly negative thing about being a book hoarder, it's a reader's horcrux when you gotta move them all to a new location. Honestly, this unhaul is very long overdue anyways. I've been out of space for a really long time, and this move was just like a kick in the butt to get it done. I tried my hardest to be very cutthroat and disciplined. I even feel like as I'm packing books up into boxes, I'm going to run into more books that I'm like, I don't feel like taking you with me anymore. I'll probably show that in the video. Anyways, I have over 40 books here. I'm not going to talk about my reasoning super in depth for each book because it's basically one of three reasons. Either I've lost interest, I've read it but I won't reread it again, or I love this book but I own it on my Kindle and don't feel the need to own it physically. Oh, and yes, I am still a little sick. I did in fact catch the sickness after avoiding it for 2 years and thinking I was bulletproof, so that sucks right when I'm moving. So I'm sorry if I sound a few octaves lower than usual, or if my voice cracks like a teenage boy. This is like kind of organized, but also not organized at all. I'm just going to grab what I see in front of me, so let's dive in. I do have a stack of DNFs, and the first one is Metro 2033, so I absolutely adore the Metro video game series, and I picked this up a very long time ago, thinking, oh yeah, I love the video game series, maybe the book is going to be the same. I'm going to love it as well, and unfortunately I did not. I think I got about 100 pages in and I just couldn't get through it anymore. It's an exhausting read. It's incredibly complex, and figuring out the map as like different stations in the metro system was mentioned. I'll show you. Like, look at this. You expect me to like figure that out? I can't. I even have a little lonely tab right here. It's probably like world building or something. Anyways, I'm just gonna unhaul this. Another DNF was the Amber Crown, which was a release in January, I think. I didn't even mention in a video that I had started reading this, but wow, it was so weird and very sexual, which, I mean, one of my favorite books is The Borrow, which is like fantasy porn. So, but this was written really well. I'm a perv, I guess. I don't freaking know. But this was just so weird. As soon as you start reading, the main character protagonist, at least one of the protagonists, is just constantly mentioning boobs. And then he's accused of killing the king, and what does he do? Goes and has sex. And I'm just like, dude, you're being blamed. You might get killed and hung in a horrible death, and I guess you gotta get it, like, last second. I mean, sure. Wasn't what I expected, so I DNF'd it. The Knave of Secrets, another, recent release that I tried to read, like, oh, it's a little short book that I can get in, but unfortunately I just couldn't get into it. I could totally see what the author was going for. I guess I had to come to terms that I'm not, like, the biggest card game lover, enjoyer, and this is like heavy on like the card games. I just couldn't get into it, unfortunately, especially when it was explaining the rules of the game, and I'm like, ugh, I'm over it. And this is a really cool looking arc too, but someone will find it and enjoy it. Star Eater was another very unfortunate DNF that I just couldn't get into. It's an adult sci-fi. This next one is an unfortunate one. I'll be unhauling Velocity Weapon and Chaos Vector. I really enjoyed Velocity Weapon, and I read it around the time it came out, and then a year later I tried to read the sequel, and I don't know why, but I just couldn't get into it. It's probably because I had like lost the feeling and some plot points, and there was like a main character in this book that was in this book as well, and I had no freaking idea who it was, and it was really affecting my enjoyment. So I'm just going to let them go. The Song of All. So I really love this book. I listened to the audiobook and absolutely fell in love with it. I believe in the last book unhaul that I filmed, I unhauled the sequel to this because I really didn't like it. But I'm finally just going to let go of this book. I technically didn't even really touch this physical copy. It's on my Kindle and I have it in audio, so it's okay. I'm going to be getting rid of the entirety of the Thief series by Megan Wallen Turner. I've read all of these, and it was really a mixed bag for me. Overall, it's a fantastic series, but I definitely loved some and thought some others were just okay. I believe I gave one of them even 2 stars. So overall, I just feel like I can pass them along. And I have yet to continue with the new book that she released in this series as well, so that kind of shows me I'm not like completely invested. Tooth and Claw, this little tiny book right here, I've had for a while, and I'm just never going to read this. I am interested in the story, so I'll probably pick it up on my Kindle, but like, I'm just never going to read this like mass market sized book. Another book series that kind of hurts me a little bit because they are so beautiful, and that is Stranger of Tempest and Princess of Blood. So I highly recommend this book. It is really, really good if you want a like really classic fantasy following a group of characters who go on a quest. Like that's very much what this book is. And also these covers are so beautiful. Even the sequel to this is just stunning. Like, no dust jacket, like it's on the cover. I've been going back and forth about these, but I need to let them go. I actually DNF'd the sequel, unfortunately, so that's kind of my motivation for just getting rid of the bundle. I know you can just keep the first book and not worry about it, but I'll never reread this either. I'm going to be getting rid of Servant Mage, which is this tiny novella arc, and also You Sexy Thing by Cat Rambo. This is a really short sci-fi. It's enjoyable, but I think I gave it like 3 stars. It was alright. Oh, okay. This one might shock all of you. Hold your breath. Okay, so you all know that I love Joe Abercrombie. He's is my favorite author. It's like him and John Gwynne are like fighting in the pits for my love. But I think Joe Abercrombie just has my heart. So I am going to be unhauling first Sharp Ends, which is a collection of short stories. It's really short. That is set in the First Law universe. I read this and I gave it 3 stars. I have downloaded the lore, and now I don't need this physical copy anymore. I'll never read this again. I had it like right here. Like, you can't even see it. You can't even enjoy it. So I just don't need it. And then up next, these are out of order. I have these really cool, beautiful editions of the original First Law universe. So we have The Blade Itself, Pretty, Before They're Hanged, and Last Argument of Kings. I own the original. You can't see it. It's off camera. The series here, right here. Forever and Always will be one of my favorite all-time trilogies, but I just don't need to bring this edition. In fact, I'm actually going to pass these along to my brother, which is, I think, a show of love to give him one of my favorite series ever. If this isn't love, I don't know what is. So he better take them. Oh, and I'm also going to get rid of the same edition for The Name of the Wind. Darren and I have like the really cool red sprayed edges, scary looking cover edition. What's that edition called? I don't know, but we have it. Okay, so the next book is Children of Time. I am unhauling this because I plan to get a new copy because this edition doesn't match the Orbit edition. I think this one is Pan Macmillan. It's shorter, so I just want to replace it. I'm going to unhaul Spider Touch, which is like a sign language fantasy. Here's another series that kind of hurts me, but I'm going to be unhauling Blood of an Exile and Sorcery of a Queen, so I have really good reasons for this. Blood of an Exile I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really liked it. And then a lot of time passed and I never picked up the sequel. Just recently I read like the first page and I was like, who the heck are these characters? I have no idea. I can't enjoy the story like this. I'd have to reread this one. And another reason is the 3rd book. The cover is the worst cover, I think, in history. The US edition, I should say. It's just a man's face close up. I don't know what they were thinking, but I never want to own this book because of that. So, like, just knowing I'll never own that 3rd book, it kind of, like, deteriorates my love for these because I won't own the full collection ever. So, like, then I don't need these books. It's petty, I know. Oh, here's another situation that's the same as Sharp Ends. This is Of Sand and Malice Made. I love this series. It's the 12 Kings and Sharakai. This is a collection of short stories set in that universe, and I liked this. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, but I'll never reread this again. I know what's in this book, so I don't need the physical copy. I have it on my Kindle too, so. And lastly, I think that's it. Are 2 books I have just lost interest in. The first one is Winter of Ice and Iron, the worst title formula ever, the blank of blank and blank. I absolutely hate titles like that. Please don't do your book dirty like that. There's too many titles of blank and blank and blank. I just avoid it. That's not my reasoning. I've just lost interest in this book overall. And another one is A Demon in Silver. This one hurts a little bit more. I do own it on my Kindle though, so if I ever decide to read it, then no, it's there for me. But I have never thought of picking this one up, so just lost interest. I found another stack of lost interest. So we have Children of Earth and Sky, and this one's probably going to make a lot of people mad, but I've owned it for years and never once thought of like, I'm going to read you this month. Never. So, Chronicles of the Black Company and The Books of the South. These books are like grimdark fantasy. They could be potential favorites for me, because I love stuff like that. I don't care. I just don't care. I think that's it. Alright, everyone, that was my pretty large book unhaul. I think that was 40 books, or like maybe closer to 50, that I'm not taking with me to my new place. Very much needed. And once I have my bookshelves, which I might be getting new ones, because I think these would be quite a hassle to lug over. Hopefully they will be perfectly curated to showcase my favorite books and ones that I am very, very excited to read. It feels good to cut down your collection and knowing you won't have to carry as many boxes. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll have plenty of exciting content coming your way soon, so until we meet again, happy reading.